All right. New venture creation, right? Transport and logistic program. Okay, guys, I'm gonna take this slowly now, right? Hello. Listen. Hey, girl, listen. Today I'm gonna take this slowly. I'm not gonna be too fast, right? I've decided to modulate my frequency, reduce it. All right, guys. Yesterday we were talking about. Can you remember? Can you one remind me what we were talking about yesterday? We're talking about identifying the target market. No, identifying the potential customer, right? Which is very important. I remember I explained to you that customer is the lifeblood of a business. Remember that story I gave to you? That blood is very important as far as human existence is concerned. The same thing with a business. If a business got no customer, that business is about to die. Natural death, right? Because there is no customer. So when you are starting a new business, it becomes much more challenging for you to be able to establish what we call a customer base. A customer base, right? I told you what you need to do is you first of all identify your target market. Then you should go out there and identify their needs, right? You identify their needs, right? Based on their needs requirement, then you provide range of products. Remember the first slide I presented to you. You identify their needs. Based on their needs requirement, then you provide a range of products. And that range of products needs to be promoted to them. You need to create awareness. That first slide, make sure you memorize it. Hello, focus. What did I say? The first point of departure. Identify what? The target market. Listen to this simple explanation. I'm going to give you the framework now, the key to understand what we are doing here. Right. The first point of departure, where you need to start from, if you have a new business or if you are intending to start a new business, identify the target market. Right? Like I explained to you yesterday, if West Coast College, specifically Atlantis campus, is my target market, I will identify it first. Then what is the next thing I will do? I will come to the target market and try to identify their needs. Like I explained, you remember the example I gave yesterday, asking you series of questions, right? Then when I come to the target market, identifying their needs and requirements. How do I do that? Or how will I be able to achieve that objectives? Is by answering questions, posing questions and answers. From there, I will be able to establish exactly, evidently based, what their needs requirement are. Would I stop there? No, my business haven't started. It's still on the way, right? So based on the requirement now, their needs, I know how to satisfy their needs by providing something that is compatible to their needs. Compatibility means being able to satisfy their needs, right? Then once I provide that, I still have to promote it, right? By me saying I would love to eat burova or chicken mayo, I will not stop there. I need to go there again and say, man, you see this chicken mayo I brought, full of, these are the things that it can help you with. It's good to eat healthy food these days. I use chicken breast. I don't use fat, not too much fat. And you see how I did it. This bread, the makeup of the bread, it's a nice one. And you see, it got cocktail tomatoes and all those stuff. You still have to promote it to create that appetite, more appetite in them. Right. That is what we are talking about. Right. Sometimes it might, that is why I said at that stage, you need to use your 4 P's. That is where 4 P's will come in now. Your marketing strategy. In other words, you call it marketing mix. Right. You know what the 4 P's are. Please ask us. Price, promotion, product. That's it. You play around with it. And I've explained to you how you need to play around with those 4 P's. Because the market itself is competitive. Yourself must be competitive as well. Your pricing must be competitive, right? You can play around with the price. For example, if the market price, or rather the ruling price somewhere, is 8 rand, I say, hey boy, I'm giving you 7 rand. I'm giving you 1 rand, right? Put back in your pocket. Instead, we go and later think about it. It's saving 1 rand, which is good. And you make sure that the quality of your product is good, right? Because when a customer wants to make a decision, right, it will be foolhardy. I'm going to explain to you what I mean by foolhardy. For a customer to see a product of the same quality, but the price of one is cheaper, then you go for the one that is more expensive. Who's going to make that foolish decision? Will you make that? Everybody look for good quality at a good price. Do you understand what I mean? So what I'm trying to put across to you is when your product is of good quality and at the same time the price is good, obviously people will buy from you. Is it true of us? It's true, yeah. Do you understand what I mean? Then you need to look at where you need to sell it. For example, during lunchtime, I'm still using the scenario of West Coast College. If you put your product in the class, if students don't know that you are selling there, would they know where you are? No. You must go to this, you see that joint, you stand there. Then all the students that are trooping out, they will see you that you are selling. You're going to make more sales by standing there rather than sitting in your classroom. You see, you need to use leverage. Hello, my man. You need to leverage the the or that provision of space. Yesterday I was watching Al Jazeera talking about this Iran and US. Oh, the guy was using my language so much leverage, leverage, leverage. He said Iran they've got leverage. I like the language they were using. He said Iran they got leverage. He said he got the ace. Ace. That means he got the when somebody got the leverage, it's the same thing as he got the ace. Ace is card. That means you got the advantage. Yeah, you must watch news. You're gonna learn a lot of expressions, how to express yourself. All right. So you need to do that. You need to promote, right? Perhaps you can make flyers. For example, for the food you want to sell, you put everywhere posters. When the students are passing, oh, this guy, there's someone selling food. You put the price. Can I tell you something? Maybe I've told you before, perhaps. When I was doing my tertiary education, right, varsity level, my year one, I think, yeah, it was year two, I started it. Year one, when you see, you can't be going home every time for money. That time we don't have bursary and all those stuff. We're getting money from the parents. Then when I got to year two, my eyes opened, right? Inside the campus, residence, you call it residence, right? Where students are staying. Initiated a business. But really, I've been always business minded. I think it's not by mistake I'm teaching you this subject. Long time ago, right? When I was, how old was I at that time? Was it 18 years old? Thereabout. I started a business in the campus. Ask me, what was I selling? I was selling drawing sheet. You wouldn't know what is drawing sheet. I will explain to you. Drawing sheet is a kind of A3 paper. A3. You know A3? Big a format like this. So the students that were doing town planning, they were making use of that. And see how they were using it. You see, the student accommodation, they gave us rooms, three people in a room, right? So the student, what they used to do, when they buy that paper, they will put kind of, pap. You know, when you make pap, you can use it like a glue, right? So they will put all the whole paper in their wall. Everywhere will be white. That is what they used to do, right? The room will be very neat. So at the beginning of every term, they used to buy a lot, right? Now I discovered that during weekend, the shop, the library, right? We got a bookshop in the university that is not open. And for you to go to the town is far away because the university is situated in a place that not so much close to the town. Then one day I went to the town. I saw the price they were selling that paper. Very cheap. 20, like something like 20 cents. And I compared the price at which they were selling it at the university bookshop. Very expensive. I said, why can't I do business with this? Right? I bought some of those paper. I took to the hostel, the residence. You know what I did? I took an A4 paper. I wrote drawing sheet for sale. Then I say H. You see, I can still remember the room I was staying that. We call it H30. The block is H. My room was 30. I say H30. I put it. Then I display it in all the hostels, residents, got blocks. About how many blocks? Story buildings, right? All around. I'm telling you, they work like a bomb. Before I know, I want to buy drawing sheet. I want to buy drawing sheet. It was sold out. Quickly, I took a motorbike. I ran to the town again. I bought a lot. I brought in. That thing was giving me money. I was not going home again. I was living like a king. Did you see? So why am I saying this? You need to advertise. For example, I've seen the needs, right? That these people, these students, they need drawing sheet. Most especially weekend. The bookshop of the university is closed and they cannot go to town, right? And my price was very low. Because I said drawing sheet for sale, H30, then I put the price, 30, 40 cents. 40 cents is not a small money when you buy a lot in bulk. You see, then I have to advertise. I leverage that opportunity, right, of using that promotion P, right? That 4P of promotion. Then I advertised and I was making money. Did you see what I mean? So that is how a business is. And this is what I'm teaching you here. That it works. It has worked for me. It can work for you as well. Do you understand? And later I started having competitors. Guys, listen. I started having competitors. How was I able to beat the competitors? Through pricing. There were some other students, they introduced it as well, right? They started selling papers. But where I was getting it from was very cheap. They didn't know about that place. Did you see? My source was very cheap. So they couldn't beat me in terms of the price, And I was making it. Unfortunately, later I had a roommate. that was a thief. That guy was selling my stuff, was stealing my money. That was very, that guy, if I remember about that guy, man, I feel for him, man. He used to steal my money. When I'm out going to classes, he said gonna be inside. When somebody come, he will sell my draw sheet and keep money. When I can't say, did you sell anything? He said, no, but when I cut my draw sheet is short. But what can I do? Something of that nature. Right. So you need to do that and distribute. But in terms of identifying the target market, what are you going to look at specifically? Right? Yesterday, the second slide, I show you different target market, right? Okay. Whereby we have the one for the sport people, for the old people, and thereabout. Right. Now, when you are profiling your target market, these are the things that the criteria that you can use to identify your target market. You look at the age, right? Because when you look at people, oh man, what is this? It's finished. Oh man, I never knew about it. I feel so sad now. Anyhow, because you are going to leave me now. Oh, okay, no problem. But we've already done with the term module. This one is just for the second module for term two, right? So whatever happens, we are not wasting time. We are on par, right? Okay. It was also yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same.